Hello, beautiful students. It's Miss Allie. I am just going to give you a quick, just little minute video lesson on setting the tone with your introductory paragraph. So you're all working on research papers. Some of you may be juniors, some of you may be freshmen, and you may be struggling with the introduction, and that's what this video is. Please take out a piece of paper, a lined piece of paper, and do a proper heading at the top, and just title this your introductory paragraph video lesson notes. You should be turning these in tomorrow morning or whenever you come into class next. Please email me with any questions, and please make sure to also use that piece of paper to write down any questions that you have. The best part about these videos, again, is that you can pause them and replay them and rewind them and write down questions, so when we check in, we're all on the same page. All right, let's get started. So think of your introductory paragraph like a funnel. So first, you want to grab the reader's attention with a big general statement about your topic. This should not be a question. This should not actually include an exclamation point, anything like that. This should also not be a quote. But anyways, then give your reader a brief explanation, 2 to 5 sentences about what you're going to be explaining, or just about background information about your topic. End your introduction with a strong statement/claim that tells your reader what you actually intend to prove to them about your topic. And so again, that attention grabbing opening, and then brief explanation of your topic, and then your thesis. So you're just getting more and more specific, which is why it's a funnel shape. So today's focus is really on creating a thesis statement, because this will truly guide your actual writing. You all have created outlines up to this point, and this will help you, this will guide actually what you're actually writing about. So according to your MLA handbook, a single sentence that formulates both your topic and your point of view. That is what our thesis statement is. But before we get too caught up in what a thesis statement is, let's look at what a thesis statement is not. So what is a thesis statement not? Your topic tells your reader what you are talking about. Example, I will compare marijuana usage over the last 5 years. This is not a thesis statement. This is only a topic. And also, we should not say I, FYI. Haha. Your thesis tells your reader your position on your topic. Marijuana usage in America has not decreased over the past 5 years, despite the government's war on drugs. Oops, a little error with that quotation mark. This is a successful thesis statement. Your thesis should not be an arguable opinion. Should be an arguable opinion, not a fact. Why? Because your thesis should always be a statement that demands proof, which is why you're doing research, which is why you're pulling quotes, which is why you're paraphrasing stuff, is because you want to argue and prove your actual opinion. Your thesis statement should take a stand. Once stating your thesis statement, the rest of your paper should be you convincing your reader why your opinion is true. Additionally, your thesis prepares your reader for the facts that will prove your opinion about your topic and why it's true. Your thesis statement is not a fact about your topic. Make that note real quick. For example, pollution is bad for the environment. If your thesis statement is something that is generally agreed upon or accepted as a fact, then there is no reason to try to persuade people. A better thesis statement would be 25% of America's federal budget should be spent on limiting pollution. What a thesis statement is, it's a sentence or two that answers your reader's biggest question. What on earth is your point? Placing your thesis statement, essentially your point, in the first paragraph, you are setting the tone and ensuring that your reader is not confused for the rest of the paper. They should know by reading your thesis statement what your actual point is and what your paper is going to be about. Requirements for a strong thesis statement. It should not be too broad, it should not be too narrow, it should not be too vague. If your point is too wide or too deep for you, you'll find yourself drowning in information and unable to prove your actual point. An example, the death penalty should be banned. That's way too broad. The death penalty in Alabama has been not effective in deterring crime and should be replaced with more efforts to reform criminals and not murder them. Much better. That's way more specific. I know where we're talking about. I know why we're talking about it. So make sure that your thesis statement is very specific, and that way that'll guide your research. You're not looking at how the death penalty should be banned everywhere. You're looking at why the death penalty has not been effective in Alabama. The requirements for a strong thesis statement. Going back to that, just making sure it's not too broad, not too narrow, not too vague. If your thesis statement is too specific, you may find yourself trying to stretch a very small amount of information to fit your essay. And so remember, you're going to be writing a lot of pages on this. This should not be something that's way too specific that won't give you enough research and discussion to actually prove your point. So again, some examples. In Lord of the Rings, the author carefully chooses a weapon for each character that was symbolic and revealed something about them to the reader. Way too narrow. So let's change it to something a little bit better. When developing their characters, authors will often carefully choose symbolic items to reveal something about them to the reader. And so this at least shows us, okay, well, we can talk about any book, so maybe we'll choose 4 different books, or maybe we'll choose one book and pick several different characters. But at least this shows us, why are authors doing this? Why are characters symbolic? What is this item, and how does it relate to who this character is? Much more to talk about. So again, now we're going to vague problem. If your claim is not specific or not clear enough, you may find your reader very confused. I've read essays before where I'm like, why are they bringing that up? That was so out of left field. And this is some examples. So for example, if the United States were to get rid of welfare, it would aggravate an already severe homeless problem, cause a rise in crime, and remove the only safety net that our country has in place. When I read that, I'm like, wait, so what exactly are we arguing? What is our point? How can we get this to be very clear? And so here's just a little bit of a better thesis statement. A common misconception among many Americans is that the welfare programs deteriorate personal initiative and deprive society of much needed workers. That at least addresses, okay, this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about this misconception and how it relates to us. So where should I get started? Before trying to decide on a thesis statement, gather all of the information available on your topic, because how can you have an educated opinion about something that you only know a little bit about? The more that you know about your topic, the easier it will be to make an actual opinion, essentially your thesis statement, about it. It's easy to write a thesis statement that explains what you have found in your research than to find research that explains what your thesis topic is. And I know that we started off with really broad topics, and this is why we dove into our research before establishing a thesis. And that's okay. That's why we're doing that. You want the opinion of your thesis to state and to be very clear and to state something that you want to claim, and then obviously prove. Remember, your thesis and your topic are not the same. You must choose your topic before beginning your research. Once you have gathered your information, ask yourself a few questions. And so here are some good questions to think about. Where do you want your paper to go? What do you want your reader to know in the end? How can I provide background knowledge while still proving my point? These are the kinds of things you should ask yourself, and maybe write down even in your notes, so that way you know what to go back to. Your first draft of your thesis will be considered a working thesis. So, some of you were like, hey, is this my thesis statement? I'm like, well, maybe, it may depend on where your research goes. A working thesis is made up of 2 parts, your topic and your provable opinion. So make sure that that's very clear. So just make sure that you're continuing to work on your strong thesis statement. Write down any questions that you have and start working on your thesis statement tonight while you have time. Please let me know if you have any questions. I look forward to the check-in with you. Have a great night, guys.